If he wasn't messing with the Margaret child, he probably would have been all over that goddamn Diana Ross by now. But he was messing with the Margaret. He had one crazy girl already in the corner, okay? You know, sometimes men, they like the crazy girls because, you know, they think the crazy play is better. Hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please remember to hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Call her Miss Ross, the unauthorized biography of Diana Ross by Randy Taraborrelli. I don't know that man. I don't know him. I think I'm going to sign that kid Ross to the label, Barry told Mabel John a couple of weeks later. And the others? Oh yeah, them too, Barry responded. Mary Wilson just happy to be there, okay? I'm telling you, they giving Mary Wilson the blues in this book. They say that girl is a bobblehead. Basically, she just wanted to be a supreme by any means necessary, okay? Just let me stay a supreme forever, okay? And she did pretty much. And then you got Flo, who seems to be, you know, already setting the precedence to be a concern. And then you got this little girl that's following you around like a dog. Berry Gordy is enjoying that attention. Shit. And plus he back home with Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray getting on his nerves. I mean, shiz, you know. No. He don't like Sugar Ray. He don't like her. He probably hunching on Margaret right about now. Now, don't you go breaking up no group, Barry, Mabel warned him plentiful. They look like nice girls. Don't mess with them girls. Who, me? Yeah, you nigga. You. After the first session, the Primettes continued to go to Hitsville every day. Something always came along that they could, you know, help out with, whether it's hand claps, whether it's oohs, ahs, doo-wops, you know, picking up the phone, you know, sweeping up, whatever the case may be. They were always there to help out, you know, and that shows a sense of loyalty and aspiration to Mr. Barry Gordy. Eventually, Flo began complaining that she was tired of working for free. She told her friends, I warned you about this guy. One afternoon, Gordy arrived at Hitsville in his beat-up Chevy, and he was walking towards the building. The Primettes jumped out the bushes like gang members and surrounded him. Hey man, I want my money. You ain't paying me nothing, okay? At first, Barry Gordy was like, you know, and I'm in my mind saying to myself, look, I'm not begging y'all to stay here every day. You can go back to the bushes as far as I'm concerned. But here goes 61 cents a piece. Flo was looking at it like, what is this? 61 cents? What am I supposed to do with this? What the fuck am I supposed to do with this, Barry Gordy? Now, with that, Barry Gordy pulled out his wallet, offering to make it an even $4 to be split between them all. Okay, but what he said was, don't tell nobody. Okay, don't tell nobody that I'm giving you this little piece of change. Thank yous turned into giggles when Gordy asked them not to reveal the news to anyone. As Mary, Florence, and Barbara walked away, Diana trailed behind and stared wonderingly at Berry Gordy and his proteges. Many years later, Diana would recall, I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be in. I wanted what they all had. Berry was the most amazing man I, as a kid, had ever seen. So cool, so confident, and with such purpose. Diana was 16 and Berry was 31. Child. Listen, if he wasn't messing with the Margaret child, he probably would have been all over that goddamn Diana Ross by now. But he was messing with the Margaret. He had one crazy girl already in the corner, okay? You know, sometimes men, they like the crazy girls because, you know, they think the crazy pussy is better, right? But, you know, sometimes crazy girls are very overwhelming. Forgive me, Rockwell. I don't mean to be talking about your mammy like that, but I'm just, you know, giving a footnote here. Okay, all right. During rehearsal for I Want a Guy, Diana whined her way through the song in a nasal, oddly pitched tone. Yet there was something there, Berry felt, and with the right training, ... A week later, he broke the news to the Primettes that he was going to offer them a contract and then gave Diana a job as his secretary. Though Diana was soon known as the secretary who think she can sing, she knew how to make the best of an opportunity. Anyone who would walk by her desk would inevitably hear phrases like, "Oh, Mr. Gordy, you are so talented." And "Mr. Gordy, how did you ever get to be so smart?" She never said anything about his looks. She was too smart for that, right? Because one, she knew Berry Gordy wasn't a looker, okay? And two, she wanted to admire or openly admire his intelligence. I see you around here. I'm very impressed by you, and I would be honored if you would consider me your protege. Ooh, that Libra woo be vicious. Watch out for me. Diana somehow knew that Berry would be more attracted to her if she appealed to his intellect. And of course, every now and then, just when the timing was right, she would ask when her group was to get an opportunity to record their own song. Finally, Berry gave in. So if it wasn't for Diana making that close relationship with Berry Gordy, do you think the Supremes would be as successful as they was? Answer no. Give me a minute, I'm coming back. Look, so I got, you know, my Judies, right? And one of my Judies consider me the secret weapon, okay? Because even though I think that she is beautiful, you know, but when we go out, they consider me the secret weapon, okay? And she'll, you know, scope out the scene or whatever, and she'll be like, "Nay, you ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?" She'd be like, you know, "It's something over there I want you to go get." I'm like, "What the fuck do you want me to go get?" "A drink from that nigga right there. Go get him. He look like he got a little bit of money to spend. He drunk already. He got a credit card. Go get him." I'm like, "Me? Fuck, I gotta go for a while. I always gotta go." What? She called me the secret weapon. One, because I had my butt done. And two, she considered me to be pretty. My Judy didn't have the body that I had, and she knew that I was, you know, that I could pretty much get what I wanted, you know, at the time when I was young and tender, right? So I was the secret weapon. Diana Ross was the Primate / Supreme secret weapon. That's undeniable, okay? You got to send in your best player. On October 1st, 1960, the Primates were booked into Hitsville studio and recorded After All, a tune produced by Smokey Robinson. The song was never released because Berry felt it didn't meet the standards or quality. In years to come, most of what the Supremes would record would go unreleased for precisely the same reason. 2 months passed. Finally, on December 15th, they recorded I Want a Guy again with Berry Gordy producing. All of this work and still without a signed recording contract. So man, what do you think about this? Berry asking Smokey. The song was I Want a Guy. Be honest with me, Gordy insisted. She sounds kind of whiny, kind of weird. But if it takes off, brother, it's really going to take off because it's different. It's different. And Smokey the Robinson told him, man, she might not got the best voice in the world, but that sass, baby, that sass is going to take her there, okay? Because sometimes it's not about the voice. Sometimes it's about the performance. Hence, Janet Jackson. She ain't the best singer in the world. She one of them whisper type song singers, okay? But she can perform, child. I seen her one time in the Vegas. Later, Barry offered a deal to Robert Bateman, the man who bought the Primettes to Motown. If you want to manage Diana Ross and her group, they are all yours, Barry told him. And whatever success you have, you get a percentage of for the rest of your life. Did he accept the deal? Do I look rich? Bateman answered years later, deadpan. No one wanted to get involved with a kid who sings through her nose. By the time I finish with you, everyone will know who you are, Barry promised. He then instructed Janie Bradford to come up with a list of names from which the girls would have the freedom of choosing their favorite ones. Flo picked the Supremes. We know that from the Mary Wilson. So anyway, they speak briefly about the parents. Fred Ross was born on Independence Day in 1920 in Bluefield, West Virginia, to Edward and Ida Ross. He graduated from Cass Technical High School in 1937. Over 6 feet tall and weighing 160 pounds, he became a boxer. I feel like that was another reason why Diana liked Berry Gordy, because her father was a boxer, and so was Berry Gordy. I mean, maybe that's the reason why Berry Gordy ain't had no problems with fighting nobody, okay? He don't care who you are. You know, Berry Gordy didn't jump across the table a couple of times on some ninjas. You heard me? Okay. While Fred was jabbing his way through young adulthood, Ernestine Moulton had dropped out of Selma University in Alabama to move to Detroit with her sister in 1936. Ernestine, the youngest of 12 children of Reverend William and Isabel Moulton. Fred and Ernestine met in 1937, and though both were educated and had a practical outlook on life, they were different in many ways. She was lovable and easygoing, content to leave her studies behind in favor of domestication. He was distant and aggressive, continuing his boxing as well as his education with almost financial determination. He was enrolled in Wayne State College, studying business administration. Soon, he secured a trainee position in the American Brass Company, making $60 a week operating heat furnaces. Once employed, he decided to end the 2-year engagement to Ernestine and marry her. I wouldn't marry Ernestine if I thought for a minute we'd have any financial instability, he recalled. Life is too short to be poor. Glory! They married in March 1941. Fred was 20, Ernestine 23, and moved into a small apartment. Ernestine's sister, Bee, came to live with them. Their first child, Barbara Jean Ross, was born on June 1st, 1942. Then on March 26, 1944, Ernestine gave birth to another daughter at the Women's Hospital in Detroit. She had intended that this child be named Diane, but we all know due to a snafu at the hospital, the baby Diane name was Diana. With the addition of another child, the Ross 2-bedroom apartment suddenly seemed too small. But Fred and Ernestine realized that they were lucky to have it. Detroit was still trying to regain its balance after a race riot in June 1943. One of the worst the country has ever seen. So let me explain to you the dynamic between Diana Ross's parents, okay? This is what I love about couples like this, all right? If you're a hustler, you got to marry a hustler. You know what I'm saying? If you're a grinder, you got to marry a grinder. Don't marry nobody lazy. You know, like part of the reason why my wife loves me is she knows that I'm going to make some money. Okay, I don't care what I don't care if I got to get out there and mow lawns myself. I'm gonna make some money. This is what happened. Although Fred is making good money at the brass company, the military called him. We don't give a fuck if you got children. We drafting people. We need you over here at World War II. In his absence, he chose so well that he knew his wife was not going to falter. He knew that his wife was going to survive. Some women cannot survive without their husbands and vice versa. You know, you pick a mate that's going to hustle like you hustle. I don't want, if I had the potential to plug a girl up, you know what I'm saying? I don't want my baby mother to be all weak woman, where if I'm not around, she falters. No, I don't like that. I need my women to be strong. Now, dig this, okay? I'm gonna go to 11, I'm gonna come back, right? Sometimes ninjas be like, I just want to have a strong woman, Sometimes that just means they just want you to be able to take all that bullshit while they giving you bullshit. Okay, that's all they talking about. I just need me a strong woman, But sometimes, it means that if I'm not around, then I need to know that you will be capable of taking care of my children. When the father got called off to war, the mother gave sewing classes and was teaching, I think, music at the school, but she was like a substitute teacher, okay? So that was very admirable. When Diana Ross went home and was like, oh, I'm about to sign a Motown, Fred Ross was like, answer no. We are a very educated family here. You think you're not going to go to school and get a degree and do something with your life? You about to sing and dance and shuck and jive for this nigga? No. What used to be middle class white communities in the heart of the district were quickly taken over by impoverished and working class black people, all competing for jobs on the assembly line. Part of the Motown machine, right, was to go with that moving theme that these girls are ghetto girls, that the Supremes came straight from the projects, right? And they spoke of an interview that Diana Ross had where she said one of the hardest things that she had to do in her life was get out of the projects. Her father said, answer no. The hardest thing in life was getting into the projects. I can believe that. You know how hard it is for some people to receive low-income housing or Section 8 housing? It's like you got to be really, really poor in order for you to get help from America, okay? And if you make over, a certain amount, like maybe 25 or 30,000, they don't give you a okay? America is so messed up. It's like you have to be desolate before America say, hey, we'll help you. Back in the day, they had projects that were made for families. Now, child, that's catered to single mothers. Fred Ross disagreed. The first big fight was getting in the Brewster projects, not out. If you got in, you were considered one of the lucky ones. I would agree. The Brewster projects was a place where large families could afford to live. At the same time, a bad stigma hadn't been attached to the projects. The front yards had nice lawns. The houses was decent and there were courtyards. And Fred Ross goes on to talk about, believe me, low-income housing does not equate slums. I don't know if I spoke about this before, but I'm going to tell you again. I know y'all ain't going to be mad at me. Y'all going to show me mercy, right? But, back in the day when my grandparents moved up from the South, okay, a lot of families moved up north because there was promise of employment, right? My family, on my maternal side and my paternal side came up from the South. My maternal grandparents moved up to Southwest and were able to get jobs at, I forgot where but they were working in the government, right? So a lot of times people moved to DC because it was so many government jobs, okay? DC was the way to go. So that's what happened. My paternal grandparents moved up from the South, and I think my grandmother ended up working for the Navy Yard, and my grandfather was a mechanic. So he basically could work anywhere. What happened was when my maternal grandparents came up from the South, they were able to move into some nice projects in Southwest DC, okay? They were able to do that because they had 5 children. My father's the only child. So they were able to move into a home. It wasn't into the projects, but you know, the constraints financially on a 1-child home is different from a 5-child home. You see what I'm saying? And my mother always bragged about how beautiful the projects were back then. They were nothing like, you know, what the project presents to you now. So when Fred Ross said back then the projects didn't equate slums, it's the reality, okay? And I seen pictures of my mother. I mean, the lawns were beautiful. You know, the little girls actually took pride in themselves. I still take a lot of pride in myself when I walk out the door, unless I'm just running to go get a goddamn Dunkin' Donuts coffee. You never know what the hell you're going to get from me on that day. I need to do better. In December of 1955, Ernestine gave birth to another child. That would be Chico, okay? Now, like I said, he's in a good job, right? He back from the World War II or whatever. You know, they both there, they're making income. But he like, wait a minute, hold on, Ernestine, hold the hell on. We keep having these babies. I know I can't stay off of you, but I don't know, girl. I might can't afford all these children, okay? But, I mean, it is what it is. And that's how they made the move to the Brewster Projects. The popularity of black bands and singers had reached an unprecedented level by 1958, not only in Detroit, but in the rest of America as well. Artists like Big Maybelle, Chuck Willis, and Dinah Washington had already made their marks. However, something fresh and exciting was now changing the face of black music, and all of the local teenagers were catching fever. Most kids in the neighborhood felt the same way. 3 had just arrived from Birmingham, Alabama, and were determined to take their hobby seriously. Young Paul Williams, Eddie Kendricks, and Kel Osborne formed a vocal group called the Primettes under the direction of a fast-talking manager named Milton Jenkins. As the oft-told tale has it, after the Primes began to make a local name for themselves, Jenkins decided that they needed a sister group. Jenkins was dating one of the sisters of 15-year-old Florence Ballard. Ballard and Jenkins agreed that she would head up the Primettes. Florence, nicknamed Blondie because of her light skin and auburn hair, recruited another local girl, 14-year-old Mary. Then came 2 more members. It would be Betty McGowan. McGlown, that's the one that I thought was dating one of the Primes. And then they say in this book that Paul Williams was the one who brung Diana Ross to the group. Okay, I can't say yeah or no because I really can't remember. Because the girls would be rehearsing in Milton Jenkins' hotel suite on steamy Hastings Avenue, where prostitutes plied their trade, Jenkins thought it was best to obtain their parents' full approval. What Jenkins had said to the parents was, I can guarantee you that instead of your girls being out on the street somewhere, getting into trouble, they'll be, on the street that's full of trouble, but I'll make sure that they won't jump into that trouble, okay? So the parents agreed. Pretty much the same story as Mary Wilson. Now, this is what the father said, okay? He was like, I really didn't care anything about the singing, okay? I didn't give a fuck about it. What I cared most about was Diana's education, okay? Diana's older sister, Barbara, was excelling, what's her name? Yeah, Barbara was excelling in academics, right? Diana was not so much, okay? She wasn't a bad child. She was a good child, as far as academics, but she was nothing in comparison or not to be compared with her sister, okay? And Diana Ross took it to heart because she felt like, you know, out of the two of them, her father, Fred Ross, preferred Barbara the most because Barbara excelled the most of the two in academics. And education was what was most important to Fred Ross. In response to the fact that she felt like her father wasn't backing her because of the fact that it wasn't academics and it was her dream to sing, the more that she would do the opposite of what her parents wanted her to do, or at least her father wanted her to do. Mary Wilson once remembered the afternoon after a rehearsal when Diana pulled Florence aside and told her that she wanted to sing more leads. "But you ain't the lead singer, Diane," Flo said carefully. "Well, what makes you think that you are?" Diana challenged. "Just because everybody says so." Flo told her that she could sing circles around her any day of the week and warned her to stop messing with me. The two girls stared each other down. Then Diana turned and walked away. She and Florence were not off to a good start, but Diana was more concerned with the problems at home. Now, if you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. Now remember this, the same people that you meet on the way up will be the same people that you meet on the way down.